All right, everyone, and hello, and this is Shepard. 3.0 is hit. It's a huge update, ton of new content. So we're going to be going through this a little bit more deliberately. I really want to give each weapon the time it deserves in terms of the analysis, as well as the math and how I got there. So we're going to go a little bit more piecemeal. I've already done a ton of math on a lot of weapons, and this is me recording it after, but we're just going to focus on Greatsword today. Insect Glaive has shocking revelations. Longsword doesn't. Greatsword may also surprise you. So without further ado, we're going to get into it. We're going to go into the armors. So the new Elder Dragon armor, as well as the Valstrax armor. And then we're going to compare all the different Greatswords going into different elements, trade-offs, different sets you can use for them. Does Raw or Element reign supreme? You will know by the end of this video. Valstrax is what has people getting really excited here. Primarily the Dragonheart ability. At level 4, you get 5% boost attack power. At level 5, you get 10% boost attack power. You also get Dragon Blight, which synergizes really well with Resuscitate, which means when you have an abnormal status, any blight or anything else like that, poison, you get yourself a little bit of an attack boost. Important thing to mention here, this will be popular in Freestyle. Freestyle runs let you do pretty much anything. Heroics, fortify, doing things with your pets, capturing, stuff like that. It will almost definitely not be allowed under TA runs, so you won't see it much there. And then for just like casual play, I don't know if we're going to see it too much there because it requires a lot of setup. That being said, I have made a set with it, and we're going to go through Greatsword. So let's talk a little bit about the Greatswords. So for Dragonheart, you don't necessarily want to go 5-piece Valstrax, especially with Nargacuga weapons. We're going for full crit boost. We really want to maximize our crit. So unless you're doing, like, again, a freestyle run, you're going to do a lot of attempts, and you're just hoping to roll your crits on your good damage, you normally want to go for 100% affinity. So you can see we're at 50% plus 3 points of weakness exploit. Means that we kind of need the value from the legs. And the Valstrax legs in general are pretty crappy, Point of Dragonheart, 1 point of resentment, which only has linear scaling. Level 3 slot, which you don't need with your Nargacuga weapons anyways, in a level 1 slot. So if we go to the math, so in an absolute best case scenario, all of our attack boosts get us up to close to about 275 before Demon Drugs or your Might Seeds, but including Booster and your Charm and Talisman, which is really high. I mean, that is really, really high. And then on top of that, we've got a 100% chance to do a crit that hits at 40% more. And in every situation I'm looking at, that does beat Element. However, you need to have that active. If the boosts from Dragonheart are not available, your damage starts to fall behind pretty significantly compared to almost all other alternatives. So it's really a high skill-based maneuver. If it's something you think you're going to be able to keep up consistently, you will see, on average, about 10 to 15% more damage than what you would get normally. Without that, though, you're looking at slightly less, maybe 3 to 5% less damage on average compared to other alternatives. I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys the set real quick, just so you can kind of try and rebuild it. Talisman is nothing insane. Attack boost, 2 with a level 2 slot, 2 level 1 slots. Not too hard to replicate. Only thing we really lack is 3 points in speed sharpening, but we've got plenty of white for a Greatsword at least. If you do want to go full raw, so let's say you don't want to go ahead and make any of these other weapons, which, I don't know. You are able to fit 3 points of focus in. So especially if you're looking for a true charge slash, or for some reason you just like to run heavily focus based builds, you can throw focus 3 in here. This is, again, pretty much the same talisman from before. Should be pretty easy to get attack boost 2 with a level 1. Again, if you didn't have it, not a big deal. You don't really need 3 points of speed sharpening. You certainly don't need 2 points of flinch free. But all of those things help. So probably one of the most surprising finds in my research is assuming you are running a standard non-Dragonheart set and assuming you don't require focus. So say you're using Rage Slash. For me, focus is a weird skill. It interacts obviously with your draw and your strong charges pretty well because those things come out faster. There's no reason in most cases that you wouldn't want them to go out faster. But with Rage Slash, sometimes the focus actually works against you. You're planning on absorbing a hit. As you take damage, you get increased damage to your own hit, as well as you take reduced damage. So in some cases, focus can be a negative. For my normal playstyle, I normally don't run focus. I only really want to run focus when I'm running True Charge Slash, because especially with True Charge Slash, you want to get that out faster, not slower. So in our case of Kushala, I'm going to throw the numbers up on screen now. Compared 1-to-1 to our Nargacuga Greatsword, not only is it more damage if we're fighting something with ice, it technically comes out with more damage even on the raw. And that's because there's a weird interaction here. Normally, when you think of Kushala weapons, you're thinking you want to run Kushala Day or a Soul. Problem with that, with Rage Slash especially, is at least in this game, and I'm not sure, allegedly in GU it was different, the repeat offender effect would hit on your first hit, and you could crit off of that. That is no longer the case in Rise. So there was some misinformation. I thought I heard it in my Twitch chat. If Kushala Day or a Soul is not up, if you don't see the little icon, you are not buffed for that hit. You have to hit in order to get that buff, which means that in almost all cases, if you're doing yourself a Rage Slash, maybe with focus you could do it, but without focus, that's going to drop. And when that drops, that means that you're no longer going to have that 25%, let alone 30% boost to your damage. Not a problem for most weapons, but certainly a major issue for Greatsword. So in this case, I'd say don't do Kushala Day or Soul, and with attack boost being there, it ends up being very good. So we can take a look at the numbers. Even point for point, we find compared to our focus set, the raw is the same. Slightly better, even. We get 2 more points of damage on the raw. We end up getting 3 more points on a full draw slash, and we end up getting almost 20 points of more raw damage. I'm sorry, we end up getting 4 more points of raw damage on Rage 3. It's not even considering the element, so I'm just using a standard hit zone of 60%, raw, 20% element. Obviously, it's going to depend on the monster, right? So Apex Diablos, you're actually going to see that number count for quite a bit more. It doesn't take much raw damage, takes quite a bit of ice damage. But even if you're just looking at as a 5% or 10% or 15% and you're getting a bonus damage from there, point for point, it's going to be more. You know, there's really, if you're doing no focus Rage Slash, I don't see why you wouldn't use the Kushala Greatsword. And especially if you're fighting something significantly weak to ice in certain phases, Diablos, hell, in some cases, you might even want to consider running it against Narwhal. Although I would argue if you were doing True Charge Slash, Focus 3 Nargacuga is probably better because she just takes crazy raw damage. That it ends up being really kind of great. So, love it. Love to see it. Love to see that there's a elemental greatsword that not only stands toe-to-toe in terms of raw damage, but also brings itself quite a significant amount of elemental damage as well. I'll just go through and show here. This is a pretty good talisman I have, obviously. You would need something close to a weakness exploit 2 in a level 2 slot. The only other things that really get slotted in dramatically could be crit boost 2 with a level 2. I know that's a little rare. If you don't have that, if you had a particularly great attack boost charm, so you're able to get like maybe an attack boost 3 with a level 2, you might be able to try and fit that in that way. Okay, quick update on our Chameleos Greatsword in terms of where it stands. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the damage from it. It's obviously going to look a lot lower. You know, it doesn't have 100% crit. That's really where it falls behind. It's difficult to convey or show the element on it. So what you would really need to do is consider, what am I fighting? Am I fighting Kushala? Am I fighting for some reason you're fighting Tobi Kadachi. Something like that takes a large amount of poison damage, and you might rack up a lot of poison damage over time. Especially Kushala, it's something worth considering in the sense that if you want to have less black wind, so it's less attacks to deal with, let alone less potential opportunities for it to be knocked away. What are you really losing in damage 1-to-1? So taking a look at Rage Slash, looks like you're losing about 10% damage relative to Nargacuga, so you could be losing, 50 damage. How many times did you have to poison them? How lucky would you have to get in order for that damage to stay consistent? How much benefit would you have to get from the poison being there? It really depends. I mean, it would take a lot of calculations to figure it out. If you got lucky and you were consistently hitting the poison procs in your Rage Slash, it could be very good. I think the damage would at least match, if not surpass, Nargacuga. If you got unlucky and you're only hitting it on, say, like draw slashes or your strong charges, it might end up falling behind. At the very least, even if you were in multiplayer, it might be something considered worth bringing, simply because, hey, now you're the poison guy. This is without specialist. We've got 84 poison. So you'll be doing it a lot. So I don't know how much play you'll see from a Thunder Greatsword. There aren't that many monsters, I would say, that are in the end game right now that take considerable thunder damage. Maybe Basil, so I've reflected the raw and elemental weakness just to go to 0.6 to 0.15, just to have a little bit more of an apples and apples. In this case, Rajang comes out ever so slightly ahead for Nargacuga, even on a true charge slash, but obviously our Nargacuga could be using focus 3 on that one. In terms of Rage Slash, it's again a slight benefit. Really just the sort of thing you use if you just like the way it looks. The difference is so minimal. It's viable, it's just not great. So we're not seeing any home run ballpark figures from the Rajang Greatsword. Okay, last up, I'm just going to throw up numbers for the Valstrax Greatsword. I know it has a lot of people really interested. They love the way it looks. They love that it's got white sharpness. They love that it's got a lot of attack. The unfortunate thing is that, as best I can tell, in nearly every scenario, it loses. I mean, especially when we're considering that you're probably going to be using something like this against Apex Rathalos. The guy's head goes up to 80% when he's enraged. When he's not enraged, maybe it gets like relatively slightly better, right? We can drop the raw weakness down to 0.55 and then go at the 20% there. Even then, our weakest Nargacuga attack, let's say Dragon Boost with nothing else going on, hits at 495. Valstrax hits at 492. It's just not likely to be a good set. It looks cool. I wish it were good. Unfortunately, the Rathalos just doesn't have the hit zones that we need. And especially if we overtune the head hit zone to 80%, now we're looking at like nearly an extra 60 damage off of Nargacuga on a true charge slash, or an additional 17 damage in terms of a rage slash. And again, that's with no additional boosts on our Dragonheart set. If we're looking at something in terms of our actual like focus bound set, you're looking at an additional 5% damage over Valstrax. I don't see it. I don't see it being helpful. I'm sorry. I mean, is it viable? Absolutely. Is it good? No, it's not. It doesn't win. Sorry. Not even in that best case scenario. Okay, and so that's it for now. Hopefully you all enjoyed the content. Make sure to please follow me down below over at twitch.tv/SDShepherd. Try to stream there every day. We're working on those builds probably right now as you're watching this video. Otherwise, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what weapon you want to see next. A ton of research already done. Super excited to go over Longsword, Insect Glaive, Switch Axe, Dual Blades. We'll go into the other things too. Like I'm going to try and hit up everything by all is said and done. Maybe not bowguns, but everything else other than bowguns we will cover. Okay. All right. I love you. Until next time, good luck. Have a good hunt.